You've probably heard the opening line of the Bible a million times. I mean, it's one of the most famous sentences ever written, right? But what if I told you that just beneath the surface of those familiar words, there might be a deliberate mathematical blueprint, a kind of code that's been hiding in plain sight for thousands of years, just waiting for someone to do the math? It all starts right here. So there it is, Genesis 1:1. Simple, powerful, and, really profound. Now, on the surface, it's a straightforward declaration of creation. But let's start to peel back the first layer and look purely at its structure in the original Hebrew. Okay, so the very first thing you notice if you were reading this in the original Hebrew, the word count. It's exactly 7 words. Now, in biblical symbolism, the number 7 pops up all the time, often representing completion or divine perfection. So that's an interesting start, but let's keep digging. Now let's count the letters. In those 7 words, there are exactly 28 letters. And what's 28? Well, that's a perfect multiple of 7. It's 4 times 7. So we've got 7 words and a letter count that's a multiple of 7. Kinda neat, right? A nice little bit of symmetry. But does it just stop there with a couple of 7s? I mean, that's cool, but this is where the theory gets really interesting. It asks the question, what if this is just the tip of the iceberg? What if the letters themselves contain a hidden numerical signature? To go any deeper, we're going to need a key. And according to this analysis, that key is an ancient system called Gematria. Think of this as the decoder ring that supposedly transforms these words into a pretty stunning web of numbers. So what even is Gematria? Well, it's an old practice where every single letter in the Hebrew alphabet also has a numerical value. It's kind of like a cipher. What this means is you can take any word or any sentence and calculate its total mathematical weight. For instance, have a look here. Aleph, the first letter, is 1. Bet is 2. The values keep climbing through the alphabet, all the way up to Tav, the very last letter, which is 400. With this system in place, every single word suddenly becomes a math problem. All right, so we've got the key. Now, let's actually use it to try and unlock this verse. We're going to apply the Gematria system to all 7 of the Hebrew words in Genesis 1:1 and see what happens. And here's what you get. As you can see, the first word, Bereshit, that's in the beginning, adds up to 913. The second word, bara, or created, is 203. You do this for all 7 words, and the grand total you land on is 2,071. So 2701. It's a big number for sure, but is it just a random number, or does it have its own hidden properties that might just continue the pattern we started to see? This is where the next layer of the puzzle really starts to show itself. When mathematicians look at a number, one of the first things they do is check for its prime factors. And when you do that for 2,701, you find something pretty remarkable. It's the product of exactly 2 prime numbers, 37 times 73. And get this, according to the analysis, these numbers aren't random at all. 73 is the Gematria value for chakma, which is the Hebrew word for wisdom, and 37 is a number that's often associated with the word. The claim here is absolutely incredible, that the verse itself is a mathematical equation, basically saying that creation is the product of the word and wisdom. But we're not done, not even close. The mathematical claims go even deeper. The analysis suggests that if you start combining the numerical values of the individual words themselves, even more surprising patterns begin to emerge. Just look at this. By combining the values of specific words from the verse, the analysis points to these highly ordered symmetrical numbers, 999, 888, and 777. And here is the real kicker. When you add those 3 symmetrical numbers together, what's the one number you need to get back to the grand total of 2701? It's exactly 37, the very same prime number we just saw. So we've got 7s, we've got prime factors, and we've got these weird symmetrical sums. That's already a lot, but the source material makes an even more astonishing claim, one that connects this ancient verse to one of the fundamental constants of the entire universe. Okay, so to understand this next connection, we need one more number. The Gematria value for the word Torah, the name for the first 5 books of the Bible, is 611. Just keep that number in your head for a second, 611. And this is probably the most mind-blowing claim of all. We know the value of Genesis 1:1 is 2701. We know the value of Torah is 611. Well, here's the connection. If you take the mathematical constant pi and you add up its first 611 digits, the sum you get is exactly 2701. It's a seemingly impossible link between the creation verse, the law, and a fundamental constant of our universe. So, the really crucial takeaway here isn't just one of these points on its own, it's the whole web of interconnected mathematical properties that seem to be woven into this single sentence. So, let's just take a breath and recap everything we've looked at. So here it is, the whole evidence board laid out. It starts simple with the structure. 7 words, 28 letters. Then it goes to the total value of 2,701, which breaks down into that prime signature of 37 and 73, linking word and wisdom. After that, you've got the internal symmetries that create sums of 777, 888, and 999. And it all culminates in that baffling, almost unbelievable link to pi. Each layer just seems to build on the one before. And that leaves us with the ultimate question. What are we supposed to make of all this? Is it a breathtaking example of a deliberate, maybe even divinely embedded code? Or is it one of the most profound and mind-boggling series of mathematical coincidences ever discovered? The source presents the pattern. The conclusion, well, that's up to you.